felt like there was a stove inside my body.
Ooh.
Like everything was burning and hurting so much. The day that I was discharged, my psychiatrist increased my dosage to 75 milligrams. And that is actually the same day I got sick. What I would usually compare it to is like HIV and AIDS.
Okay.
Stephen Johnson's would be the HIV in a sense that it is lighter compared to toxic epidermal nucleosis, right? Your immune system attacks itself. And how it does this is in the form of a chemical burn.
Jenny with More by Michelle Moore. Welcome back. It's your Tswana Han. Guys, today we're coming back with another banging episode. Not really banging because we're raising awareness. And we have a Han on the other side who's going to be telling her story from the beginning. And I'm not going to mention anything about her story. You're going to hear the story from the horse's mouth. Guys, like I always say, here we motivate, we raise awareness, we educate, we give hope, we help, we just do everything. So take the number that's popping on your screen to write to our podcast. And I promise you, we will just take it from where you want it to be taken to where you want it to go. We don't do anything that you don't want us to do. So feel comfortable. Some people will tell you that I don't want to write to a podcast because podcasts, blah, blah, blah. No. If you want to be anonymous as well, I'm here for that. So kindly subscribe to the channel. If you have not yet done so, like the video, and let's take it away to a beautiful Han. We have a beautiful Han here. Honey, please tell my viewers who you are, where you come from, where you at the moment, why we're doing this like this. I'm joking. Take it away. Tell my viewers your name, and yeah, you are in your room. You're not supposed to be shy or anything like that. You are alone over there. I'm the one who's shy because I have a cameraman and cameras and lights.
You do this all the time, though. You do this all the
Okay, you
time.
don't have to tell us everything you don't want to tell us, just a little bit of who you are. Yeah, and then we'll get to the story of today. You'll explain what the story is about and what we raising awareness on.
Okay, so my name is Shaz. My real name is Charity, actually. Shaz is a nickname that came from my work as a beautician. So I am a beautician by profession, but after my situation, which I'll get to soon, I cannot practice as a beautician anymore. I am 31 years old. I am from Inyoni, which is a reserve, a rural area rather,
Okay.
in KZN.
Well, guys, that's Shaz, and Shaz is going to just go ahead and tell us the whole story of what happened to her. If you look at her, you will see that actually she was not like this before. So we're gonna get to know what happened. I'm not gonna interject a lot, but when it's necessary, I'll just have Shaz pausing and I'll come in. Shaz, take it away, honey. Tell us what happened.
Okay, so I am a Stephen Johnson's and toxic epidermal nucleosis survivor, right? Which means that I had a very rare and severe allergic reaction that certain people can get, I guess. And I got this reaction from a medication. And that reaction is called Stephen Johnson's and toxic epidermal nucleosis. Stephen Johnson's is the lighter version of it. So what I would usually compare it to is like HIV and AIDS. Stephen Johnson's would be the HIV in a sense that it is lighter compared to toxic epidermal nucleosis, right? It only affects 30%, less than 30% of your body is when it's called Stephen Johnson's, and anything over 30% of what it affects is called toxic epidermal nucleosis. In my case, it affected 75% of my body.
Okay.
So I was on a medication, right, called Epitech. And the ingredient in the medication is what usually triggers Stephen Johnson syndrome. And the ingredient is lamotrigine. That
Okay.
is what triggered Stephen Johnson's for me.
Okay, Shiz. I know you're saying big words, and I'm going to be grilled for letting you get away with that.
Of
So,
course.
so you saying you were using a pill, a certain pill. I don't know if you're comfortable with
Of course,
telling them what that pill was for. What were you treating?
no problem.
Yeah, and that's
Would you
good
like
because
me
the
to take it from
names.
there?
Yes, take it from there.
Okay. Okay, so I was on a medication called Epitec. I was taking Epitec as a mood stabilizer after I had been newly diagnosed with type 2 bipolar,
Okay.
right? So I was on the medication for about 2 weeks. So it is not just Epitic that can cause Steven Johnson's. Like just like how someone can be allergic to peanuts and I can have peanuts and not it's not adverse. So other people have taken Epitic, especially people who do struggle with bipolar and seizures. They take Epitic and they're fine with it. It's a very rare, as I said, it's random and it's rare. So it's not adverse. What may cause Steven Johnson's in me? Some people can get it from an antibiotic. Some people can get it from medication
Oh.
that they have taken even before. So that's how random and rare it is.
Okay. Can I come
The
in
Steven
for
Johnson syndrome.
Can I
Of
come in for a
course,
second? Are you saying any pill can trigger this?
yes.
Wow, that's
The
major.
ingredients in the pill, the ingredients in the pill is what triggers. So it's mostly the chemicals that pills are made of that
Wow.
can trigger. It can even happen with herbal medicine. It's the ingredient
Oh.
in the medication that triggers the Steven Johnson's and toxic epidermal nucleosis.
Yeah.
So toxic epidermal nucleosis is when it gets worse, when it spreads to over 30% of your body. So it affects so how this, but what it basically does is it's your immune system attacks itself. And how it does this is in the form of a chemical burn that starts from the inside. So in my case, it's the inside of my, what is the breathing thing? The lungs. So it separates. The layers of skin separates in a chemical burn. So
Okay.
it's the layers of skin that create my lungs and the tubes that go in there. That's where it started. So I had pneumonia. It burned my breathing passage and my eating, my swallowing passage. The words are going to be a bit funny. There's a lot of
I'll,
they're
I'll
going to
I'll
be a
I'll
bit
unpick
funny.
them on my description box for those who are interested.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I've tried also to understand it the best way that I can through this experience. So I'm just going to explain it the best way that I understand it. So yeah, the layers. So especially like the mucosal membrane layers. So like the throat and the breathing and the eating tube, it caused ulcers there, like so, like just like the boils that were on the external part of my body, like where I was burnt outside, it also happened inside. So I had pneumonia. I had to have a tube put in because as I was burning on the inside, I was also burning on the outside. So I couldn't even have normal oxygen put in like a regular person. Um, I had mouth ulcers, it burned me in my mouth. So all the way from the inside, outside as
Okay.
well. So
Can I
from my
ask you?
waist
Can I ask
upward.
you this? I think my
Yeah.
viewers are gonna be like, how did you? Where did all of this start? Like the whole burning, the
Mhm.
whole. Did you get symptoms of something and then go to the doctor? Be like, doctor, I have this. Did it come gradually, or was it like I woke up one morning and I was just burning? How did it all just begin?
So I was in a mental health clinic. That's how I started taking the medication, right? I was
Okay.
in a mental health clinic. And I was admitted into the hospital
Okay.
then. So I was started taking the medication inside the hospital, meaning that I didn't have the Epitech that I was taking actually has a black box warning that does warn that people have, it's one of the more common medications that can trigger Stephen Johnson syndrome,
Okay.
right? So had I had the box, I might, if I was the type of person to read my medication, I would have seen that. But my doctor and my psychiatrist didn't tell me that that was a possible reaction. So I started taking the medication. Then I was given the medication every day by a nurse. So I was just taking it. And then on the day that I got home, was actually the day that I was discharged, my psychiatrist increased my dosage to 75 milligrams. And that is actually the same day I got sick. And how it manifests is that it'll manifest in my case, and in most cases that I have heard of, it'll start like a fever. So
Okay.
you will feel yourself burning up. I thought I was having a fever, especially because I had been in hospital for 2 weeks. So
Mm.
now I'm leaving and going home. I thought the hospital was also in a different city, and I thought maybe, the weather's different. So I'm getting a flu. And it was in August of last year,
Mm.
um, the beginning of August of last year. So I thought, the weather is usually quite, crazy then. I had that fever. I went to the doctor the following day. The doctor said I had a fever. And because I wasn't warned that this is a possible reaction, I didn't think to tell the doctor, especially because I came from a hospital,
Mm.
that, hey, I'm on this new medication. Could it have been that? It wasn't until later that night when I got worse. I started to get itchy, but every time I would scratch, it would like become like these boils.
Mm.
Um, I started to look up on the internet, Dr. Google, right? I started to look up, I'm having these symptoms. We look up our symptoms. And
Mm.
Stephen Johnson's did come up, right? But because also there's not a lot of color skin representation, unfortunately, on the internet. So the pictures that I saw online didn't look like what I saw on myself. So I dismissed it.
Mm.
Um, I did though so I went to the doctor again the following day because the next day I started to have blisters like I had chickenpox now, and not small ones. Like it was just overnight. I started to get like these like longish blisters on my face, around my eyes.
Within
I started
24
to just
hours.
within 24 hours. It spreads quite quickly. You will know that
Mm.
this is not like a regular thing. But because I had never had chickenpox, I assumed that it might be chickenpox as well.
Mm.
So I went to the doctor again and I told him and showed him, and he said I had chickenpox. Um, I did tell him though, just before I left, I said, I saw something like Stephen Johnson's online. Could it be something like that? Now
Mm.
I brought the medication with me because I had seen that Stephen Johnson's. And instead of him saying go to the hospital, he actually said that if it gets worse, then I should call an ambulance.
Ooh.
But the second diagnosis from the same doctor was that now I had chickenpox. And also chickenpox does start like what Stephen Johnson starts like, right? It also does
Mm.
start with a fever a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Um, but even after I said that, he still said that I should um, see only call an ambulance if it gets worse.
Mm.
So again, I went home, took medication. I went to the doctor again, and once again, the doctor uh, misdiagnosed me with chickenpox now.
Mm.
Even after I showed him the medication, I
Mm.
said, I'm on this new medication, and I saw online that there's a thing called Stephen Johnson syndrome. Could this be from. And he took a minute and then he said, if it gets worse, call an ambulance immediately.
Mm.
So, yeah, it wasn't until I woke up the following morning and it just, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like there was a stove inside my body.
Ooh.
Like everything was burning and hurting so much. I tried to get out the bed. I tried to put my feet on the ground, and I had blisters underneath my feet. So
Ooh.
I couldn't. I had to crawl to the kitchen. Um, I think I was just like still in shock that I was, that sick. I went
Mm.
to look in the mirror. My eyes were pussy at the time. Um, my hands were sore. I couldn't swallow anything. I just picked up the phone and I called the ambulance. I didn't even know how to call an ambulance until that day. And I was in such a tight spot that it was instant. Like I realized in that point, like in that moment, especially when I couldn't stand,
Mm.
that something was really, really wrong. So I called the ambulance and then I realized when I was trying to speak to the ambulance that I couldn't speak. There
Oh
was
my
now sores in my
God.
mouth. Um, but I did manage to explain like, where I am and that they need to come now. Like
Mm.
in that I felt like I was dying.
Mm.
Because even with like what felt like a fire inside my body, I don't know how to explain it. It felt like there was a fire, but it was coming from inside. And like everything that I touched, if everything hurt. Like if I felt like my feet, everything hurt there, my hands. Because what ended up happening was how they were like I have, if you can see my hands, they're quite like dark because
Mm.
the blisters formed in my hands, they formed under my feet, then from my waist upwards it just kept spreading like that. um it spread like it started in my face and like this area, but it just spread like downwards.
Mm.
um spread to my feet. It spread everywhere, basically. It affected over 75% of my body.
S-
So I went with the ambulance to the first hospital. I've never been a sickly person, so I just told them to send me to the nearest like hospital. So that in that hospital, by the time I got to that hospital, I knew that I had to say now to everyone that I'm on this medication. I think that I'm having a reaction called Stephen Johnson syndrome, and because it's so, I I find that health workers don't even like nurses and like they don't even know what it is. Like some people have heard about it, but they actually don't really have much understanding about what it is. Like as someone who looked it up online, when I got to the hospital and I was telling them what it is, I realized that they don't really know
you.
and the thing is they know that it's a thing that's caused by medication. So now it was a matter of I'm in the hospital, but because they know I have this thing, all they know about it is that medication triggers it. So now I wasn't medicated. They were scared to medicate me because
Really?
a lot of antibiotics also cause it. So now for I think the first 2 days I was on very light painkillers, and it was the same painkiller that the doctor that I had seen 2 days before had given me, because that's the only thing they didn't make it worse. So I have pneumonia at this point. I'm coughing up, yeah, they're not even suctioning me. They're giving me just like tissue to cough it up onto. Um, it's spreading now at this point, and what happens is, do you know how like when you have like a boil from a fire, how you get a little
Yeah.
boil,
Yeah.
right? And then sometimes it gets bigger depending on
And
how
it
bad the burn
spreads.
was. That's what was happening to my face at the point that I was awake in. It was like the blisters that started like small started to like they were getting bigger, and then they would get bigger and bigger until they like slough off.
Sure.
Um, and that went on for now. My mom's here, and my mom was the first person to realize that the hospital I was in initially didn't have the capacity to treat like what I was dealing with. And she kept like, I think within in the second day, she asked me like, "Don't you want to move hospitals?" And I was like, "No," because I thought a hospital's a hospital. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die in any hospital. It wasn't until the day that they took me into theater and they removed skin and then wrapped me up in bandages and then like this plastic bag, because the bandages were like, if you remove skin, obviously your body's just gonna leak, like in a burn, that
Sure.
when you have a burn, that's what it ends up looking like. So in order to have me not leak, they wrapped me up in a plastic bag. And that's the day where I was like, okay, I need to leave this hospital now. Because part of the treatment is that the problem is they didn't know what had caused it. So the infection was still going.
And they were
So
not
think of
stopping
it
it
like a
in
fire.
any way.
No, they're not stopping it. They don't know how to stop it. They're hoping that it might stop on its own. Think of it like a fire. Stephen Johnson's is basically like a fire that's starting within your body, right?
Sure.
Until they're able to stop that fire, it just keeps spreading and it burns everything in its path, right? So for me, it was my throat, it was from my waist upwards. It took my nails, so everything that's on the skin that it was affected. Like I lost my nails in my feet and I lost my hand, and you don't lose like just like a little bit. You lose it from the skin because they take all that skin off. The hair they took off my scalp. They tried to save it. They debribed and removed my scalp and then removed the infected area and tried to sort of like stick it back on. I don't know how to
Oh.
medically explain that, but that's what happened with that. And then it sort of didn't completely take out all the skin on my legs. And then apparently, like this area, like the hands, like it likes to go on like the nails and all of that because it can cause a bigger infection there. So it removed the nails on my feet. Um, then when we moved to the second hospital after about 7 days, when I first arrived there, they said immediately that my condition, if start to understand, because I was still like high off all the medication now that they had started giving me in the second hospital. Fortunately, in that hospital, I was very lucky. Okay, with just a lot of the treatments and like the access that I had, especially with the second hospital, because usually in a case like that, when somebody's already started treating a Stephen Johnson's case, it's very hard for somebody else to take over that case. So fortunately for me, the fact that they even agreed to take my case when it was already that bad was just a blessing on its own. Um, And immediately when I got there, they said they have to induce me into a coma. Like they said, the
Yo.
only way, because if I start to realize what's happening, it's so traumatic that usually what ends up killing a lot of Stephen Johnson's patients is how when you see yourself, you mentally, emotionally, the heart rates, people's hearts usually give out. Like the anxiety of realizing, because with it spreading as well, you see it go from like one part of your face to like your arms to like
You're
you
watching
you see your
yourself. Yeah.
watching yourself like slough off basically. So they induced me into a coma that ended up being 6.5 week. Ended up being a 6.5 week coma basically. Um, and within that time, they tried to stop the infection. I think I was in week 3 of the coma when they did start the infection. But with the infection spreading, the reason why they take off the skin, and they call the term that they use is debride,
Okay.
is because I don't know if you've noticed in some like actual fire burn patients, not chemical burn, fire burn patients where the fire is just going. It usually takes a lot. It takes it I don't know, it demolds their face. It changes like the way they face looks because
Yeah.
the fire just does what it
Yeah.
wants to
I
do.
know
So
what you mean.
the
Yeah.
reason, you see what I mean, it disfigures people's faces like
Yes.
that. So the reason why they take off the layers of skin that have now, try like burnt and slotted off, is to try and give you like a take off the infected skin first of all, but to also give your skin like a smooth surface for it to grow back. So they use these special bandages that are supposed to be like um a, a skin barrier before your skin grows back.
Okay.
And
Wow.
skin and with skin being the biggest organ in the body, to have 75% of it be compromised is a very tricky thing to survive because all your other organs apparently become compromised. And at my worst, I had less than 5% chance of survival because
Sure.
the doctors were assuming now that, I had lost so much weight and now my organs have a chance to become septic from all of this exposure. And that's what they were afraid of, that my organs would fail from just being so exposed for so long as well. And with all the antibiotics I was on, not being able to eat for 6.5 weeks, dealing with all of this infection and still not being able to refuel the body. There was a lot of things, the odds that, you know, were really not on my side. So I really don't take being alive lightly at all.
Because when you say
I think it was an incredible
75%, I'm sitting here thinking, girl, that's huge. That's
girl.
a huge number.
It
Your
was
body went
everywhere.
through a
It's a big
lot.
number.
So
It went through a big trauma.
what
So
happens?
after the coma, I was very confused when I woke up. First of all, because I had been dreaming for 6.5 weeks, and your brain sort of that becomes your dreams become your reality if you're dreaming for that long. Um, so I woke up very confused. I woke up thinking the things that I dreamt, which were crazy, I will tell you that, were real. I was very relieved. I think part of why I survived that was because I had been having such scary dreams that my reality, though, still heartbreaking, was like, whew, thank goodness.
That's not true.
Um,
Yeah.
mm. I think part of why I initially survived the shock of my reality was that the reality that I had been living for 6.5 weeks was way worse than the
Way
reality that I
true.
woke up to. But then
Yeah.
when I realized, exactly, so when I realized that it wasn't true, by the time I started getting upset about the reality I was living, that part that six section for me to give up and decide to die had already passed because I was too grateful that what I thought was real was not real. So, life and God and whatever you believe in sort of sets you up and gives you everything you need to survive
It's
like
like you're
every part
giving
of the
you
season, I
strength.
think.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you,
Definitely,
I was going to
definitely.
ask you this question mentally after the whole
Mm,
thing. Where are you at mentally right now?
yeah. Initially, I was in a very dark place. I will not lie. I was in a very dark place, and I'm very grateful to have moved to where I am at in the space of a year. Initially, I didn't think, I didn't see, I was also went blind because also the mucosal membrane layers, um, how it affects. So just like how I have scarring on my skin, like, on my body, some of the scarring is a bit thicker and whatnot. The areas that were affected, which include my eyes, so it also burnt my eyes. And with me being in a coma, my eyes had stuck to my eyeballs. So I needed to have, so I had scarring first of all, which is why my eyes look like these fancy colors. It looks now. It's the tissue that grew over the burn, basically. And that's how I see the world. So how I best describe it to people is like how you have like this lace curtain. If it was over your eyes, that's how my vision is.
Oh, so you can't
This
see
one is
everything
a bit thicker than this one.
clearly.
No, yes, I don't see detail. I don't see detail unless
Okay.
it's like really close. And the lighting makes a big difference. Like on a sunny day, I see a lot better than I do on like
Okay.
today is like a gloomy day.
Yeah.
The lighting on my phone is different, but I'm going off the topic. You had asked me, remind me?
Should I take you through the questions I asked you?
Yeah.
Okay.
To take me through the last question you asked me, I got lost explaining other things.
I think
Such a layered story as well.
what was I talking about? I was talking about mentally. I was asking you where you at
Yes, how am I doing
mentally.
mentally?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's why I was talking about the eye issue because that was the most difficult time when there was a time where it also with Steven Johnson's is that it mutates, like it gives you different problems at different times because you've had a burn inside out. So it was always giving me different problems initially, and that was very difficult to handle mentally because that kept like reinstating my biggest fear, which was that I would never be able to lead a normal life. Like that was the scariest part, is that how do I live a normal life? And I love life so much. I'm so independent as well, just in terms of I want to go where I want to go without needing anybody. I'm able to do that. I love to exercise. I love to go outside. I love spending time in nature. And now all of a sudden, I can't see well enough to make myself food in the kitchen. I'm too weak to make myself a meal. It was just all of these things that were really, really difficult to have to deal with even in the moment. But the scariest part was that I didn't think that it would become better so quickly. And with Steven Johnson's being so random, nobody can estimate like how long anything's going to take. So that was very difficult for me to deal with and to push through because nobody was saying it's going to be okay in like a month, or it was just like we don't know, you just
No
let's
time
hope your body
frame.
heals
Let's
itself.
hope for the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was very, very difficult. But I mean, I had a lot of support. Like I had my mom and my family was just so incredible in supporting me through it and just reminding me that it's going to be okay, that my only responsibility was getting better. That was
Yeah.
all I had to do, you know?
Wow, that's
So I really
amazing.
focused on that. It was very, very, it was amazing. And it was amazing to see how quickly things got better. Like with every problem that I had, there was always a solution. And then with the solution, I mean, I've had 37 surgeries. But with that solution, you know, there was always a way forward. And with everything that we did, my recovery was just incredible. Like every surgery, there was good. Every surgery was successful, pretty much.
So how many did you have?
So that
I
really
missed that.
encouraged me. 37.
Oh my
37.
God.
I've been in the theater 37 times in the past year.
I'm so scared of going to the theater. God.
So it was it's a scary place. It is really a scary place. Like
Yeah.
I've been there so many times, but it's still scary. It's still scary. It's just like people are being chopped up in here. People are being worked on, but they
My
do
biggest thing
incredible
is am
work.
I going to come back? So what
Are
I'm
you
gonna
gonna wake
ask
up?
you is this: how's the recovery going? Like, how are you recovering? Are you fully recovered? Are you still suffering? Are there anything? Is there anything that's still lingering on? Like maybe you say my throat still
Mm,
hurts the same ever since, or
yeah,
there's this that's not getting better. Is there a full recovery? Would you say?
I think this full recovery is definitely possible. I'm going for the full recovery. They didn't think it was possible, really. Like the vision. Okay, so my chest is this has I had pneumonia, so that damaged my chest. That is all has is while the muscles are strong. But it
Mm,
doesn't affect me. I never struggle with breathing or anything like that. My throat had given me a problem. I recently, 2 weeks ago, I had a procedure done for my throat to stretch it out. Because like just how we have I have scarring on my skin, the ulcers that were inside my throat left scarring. So when it healed, it left my throat narrow. So there was
okay.
like a narrowing down here for a year. For a year, I there were foods that I couldn't eat for a year. Sometimes I would eat and have to push food up because it would get stuck. That's over finally. 2 weeks ago, I had the procedure, so I'm so happy that that's done. My eyes, I've still got a couple of surgeries to do there because it was stuck on my eyeballs. Like this one, I had a surgery to have it open. This one, I've had things put in because this one can see, this one not so much. This one is still sticking, so I'm gonna need to do a procedure to open it again. My skin, I'm just gonna need like I don't know what we're gonna actually do because they're waiting for all the layers to grow back, and then when it's starting to look somewhat of the same color, then I can start using harsher products to sort of help with the pigmentation. My nails and my hair,
Mm,
the growth is going to be irregular long term, right? But they will grow back. They right now I've just got hard skin going on. So when the skin has fully grown and healed properly, apparently that's the only time anything that can grow on that skin can grow when the skin
okay.
has healed. So
Yeah.
like my hairline, my natural hairline is about like here. So
Mm,
when the skin that like on the sides has healed, like the skin there's also like at different patches of brown. So I know that it's still healing. So when that has healed fully, then the hair can grow back. So those are sort of the long term effects. And then because of the coma that I was in and the mouth ulcers in my mouth, I'm going to have to do a lot of dental work. So
okay.
it's just fixing what the
What
fire
the
has
miss?
done.
Yeah. Mm.
And I believe it's possible. I mean, I eat well, I exercise. All I need is the doctors to do the thing, and then because my body's healthy, it should make full recovery, I think.
And I see you on your Instagram, honey. You are up and about. So tell me about the pills that caused it. Have
Thank
you
you, Mama.
stopped them completely? Like, what? You have an alternative for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Pause. So that's also been an interesting journey with that diagnosis. So I've had now three mental health diagnoses, right? I'm a huge believer in therapy. I believe that the better you understand your brain, the better you can work in the world. So I've always seeked that sort of information and understanding. And the first one was post-traumatic stress disorder. The second one was bipolar, the one that gave me that medication. The third one, the first thing, so I didn't want to go to the psychiatrist and say, I was diagnosed with this. Do you think, I went to a completely different one, first of all, because the doctors had said that had I needed the medication, I would have never reacted to it initially as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So I went and found and got another one. And apparently, a lot of other adults are getting the misdiagnosis with bipolar who have ADHD and autism. So I don't know if you've heard of AOUHD. It's like it's in a lot of adults where you we have an attention problem but also like a routine problem, so you want routine but you have an attention deficiency problem as well. So
Ooh,
that's the latest diagnosis I've had, and I
almost
don't
like
need medication
ADHD,
for that.
though.
It's a cognitive behavioral, it's like it's ADHD and autism pretty
Oh,
much.
okay. Yeah, yeah, I get you.
It's a combination of the two.
Okay.
And that's why it can look like bipolar because it seems like you are choosing to focus all your energy on one thing.
You can't juggle.
It's true. It's a tricky. You can't juggle. You can't juggle. You must focus all your energy on this one thing. But there are like it's not something that you need medication for with this. There are morning routines that you can do. Like for me, I have a dopamine reset in the morning because that's the biggest thing with ADHD is that you want to do the things that give you dopamine because you don't produce enough of it naturally.
Yeah.
So for example, I'm outside to catch 20 minutes of the morning sunrise, that light is very good for your brain. It produces more serotonin in your brain. So there's things like that that you can do. Like also dehydration
You have a
aggravates
lot to
ADHD.
teach.
So when you wake
You
up in
have
the
a lot.
morning,
You have a lot to teach.
girl,
You
I have
have a
learned a
lot.
lot in this past year.
Yeah, and you're speaking from your experience, so it's kind of somehow
Hmm.
something that you need to tell someone who doesn't know, who's never been there, who doesn't understand what this is. And having all of that said, we
Definitely.
are at 5 minutes now, and at this 5 minutes, I want it to be yours. In closing, I'm gonna be saying that was very, what you just told us was very, I don't know, eye opening. Yes, you cannot avoid taking some medications, you can't, but at least if you read the
Mm.
leaflet or the box outside and you see something that's scary, you can stop and yeah. But other than
Mm.
that, honey, you've been through a lot. I'm so sorry, but you're recovering, and from what I've seen about you, you love life.
Mm.
Keep on loving life.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
thank you so much for coming to raise this awareness. I will leave your Beg a Buddy account on my description box, because guys, she still has a long way to go. She will say it for herself. I'm not going to speak for her, but there is a Beg a Buddy account. If you can, just go ahead and take the details. Do the right thing, because we are one, guys. We help each other where we can. And like I always say, here we come to raise awareness, like today we're doing that, and help
Mhm.
where we can. Honey, please tell my viewers what you need them to know. Like, for instance, that event of yours that I'm so excited about, and
Yeah,
everything else, and
I'm so
everything else.
excited.
Me too. And everything else. And I'm going to be buying tickets as I live here.
It's
So you
gonna be
have like
great. It's
four
gonna be so
minutes.
epic.
We have 4 minutes.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So the backup buddy. So my brother and I are running a campaign. My brother's also got cancer. No. That's not funny. That's not the funny thing. But it's something that we're dealing with as a family. So our lives are a bit tricky at the moment. Especially because my mother quit her job to look after me last year, and my brother now can't work, and there's just three of us. We don't My dad is late. So we have a campaign running because life is very tricky for us. Life is very expensive also for us at the moment. So anybody who is willing to help financially, that would be incredible. And the backup buddy is how you can do that. But of course, we are open to energy exchange, and how you can do that is that I am curating an event, just as an attempt to help people. I mean, I've learned how important, living a balanced lifestyle and how far it can go. When something like, I was going to gym twice a day before I had a reaction. We always think that we have control over the things that happen in our lives, but we don't, right? And we want to find illness or reactions to find you, at your best, at least to give you a fighting chance. I could still be bedridden now. I couldn't even walk when I woke up from that coma. I had to learn how to walk, how to talk. And right now I go to the gym every day within the space of a year, because I look after my body, because I exercise my body. And this is what this event is about. It's about teaching people how simple it is to live a balanced lifestyle, right? So it's a morning of like meditation, yoga, and journaling. So we're teaching the balance of, mental, bod, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul, healthy everything. We're
Yes.
trying to show that you can actually live a balanced lifestyle where you can wake up to doing some yoga and meditation, or whatever you choose to do, however you choose to exercise your body, and then later on go to a sip and paint, go and paint and drink your champagne and still be healthy, right? That's what the framework of the event is. It's a yoga, meditation, and journaling workshop where we teach the benefits of these things. And you get like kits and all of crystal beads and all of that lovely things. And then in the second session, and then we have brunch and mimosas, all covered in the ticket, right? And then we will have a sip and paint session after that. So you get a chance to also make community with people who are interested in similar things, right? And we're just basically opening the conversation about health and wellness and how it can be a part of our regular everyday lives without it being such a drag and a burden and so hard and whatnot.
Wow, that event sounds so necessary. You know, when one thing is so
This is very
necessary.
necessary. It is very necessary for all of us.
Yeah, yeah. When I heard about it, I was like, well, I'm on it. Okay, I'm gonna leave the
Okay.
details for that event also on my description box,
Oh,
right? So I have everything. I
awesome.
do have them, so I'll just paste them there. And your details,
Yes.
of course, will be popping on the screen during this session, the
Yes,
podcast.
ma'am.
Thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much. Thank you so much for taking time out, girl. You busy. Guys, this woman
Girl.
is very hard to get. You cannot get a hold of this woman. Thank you so much for
Apologize.
finding
I'll do
time.
better.
Thank you so much for finding
Thank you for
time.
having me.
You
Thank you
love
so much for
life.
having
You
me.
love
It's been such
life.
a
Keep on
pleasure.
loving
I
life. Do not
do.
stop. I can
Thank
see from
you.
your TikTok. I just love your energy. Keep at it, guys. Thank you so much for
Thank you
watching.
so much, babe. Thank
Do not
you.
forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And of course, Shaz was here
Mhm.
and Shaz has an event. Go ahead, take details. Just have some chilled time. Do you like give your body a treat? Just go there.
Yeah.
You heard what he said.
Yeah.
So guys, go get your tickets. From your Tswana Han, I'll be tapping out. See you on my next one. Thank you so much for watching.